Hello again, folks, and today I wanted to make a few comments about sacred mysteries, lies, truth, all that sort of thing. I have quite a thirst for meaningful conversations, as if you're watching this, so do you. And I appreciate the comments and what have you and whatnot and so on. But I've got to wonder sometimes because some people like to badmouth people like me, of course, because I don't understand it. That's fine. Because I seem like a heretic to some people, and I get it, and that's fine. Because though I came from a very, staunch Christian slash Catholic background, and know a lot of people who are religious beyond, like off the charts religious. I mean, I'm talking devout, within my family even. Even though all of that, I'm referred to as a seeker. You see, because I've never found the truth. And there's a certain something that I admire about people who found their truth, whether it's Jesus or whatever, because it seems to have a comfort within them. And it's fine, perfectly fine. Here's the challenge I have. The challenge I have is that I prefer honesty. And I'm not saying that other people are dishonest. I'm just not seeing what they're seeing. Maybe that's what it is. And here's where I'm coming from. Okay, so I was talking to a guy recently. Very devout guy. He's the kind of a guy that I'd love to have as a neighbor. Great conversations, honest, hardworking, and all that sort of thing. But we were talking a little bit about philosophy, and of course he comes from a very religious background. And to him, philosophy has to be grounded in theology. In other words, he said something about his son or somebody in his family, whatever, was off to a seminary. He's becoming a seminarian to become a priest of some sort. And he's studying philosophy in this Catholic or Christian university. But first and foremost, he has to study theology because to him, the basis, what's behind philosophy, is theology. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, and I even heard another guy I think his name is Taylor Marshall. Very smart guy, written lots of books and so on, and makes a great case of how, the church has been infiltrated and all this sort of thing, and I don't dispute that. A lot of that makes a lot of sense. But he was talking about how in the church, they have a hierarchy of sort of how to study or something like that. Like, science is kind of way down the list. If there was three things, science, philosophy, and theology, theology's at the top. You got to get that straight first. And then you can look at philosophy. Only then it makes sense. And then only then science makes sense. It's just that to me, I don't see how theology belongs in the same box as philosophy and science. I don't know. Like I say, I'm open to somebody giving me some enlightenment here. I just don't see them in the same box. So how can you study them and have that as a foundation for something like that? I don't know. So here's another thing that I have an issue with is the apparent, to me anyway, disconnect in terms of precepts and then other precepts that counteract them. For example, in Christianity there's this commandment, thou shalt not lie. And I was told that the reason why I wasn't told about Santa Claus is because it's a lie. But I was told about a virgin birth. I just as unlikely in my humble adolescent and childhood mind. Santa Claus made just as much sense as a virgin birth. So, but the virgin birth was true, of course, and Santa Claus was a lie. And actually, they have a term. I come to realize recently there's a term that Christians use as rather than calling it a lie. I used to think they just called it a mystery, but they actually call it a sacred mystery. It's a sacred mystery. You can't understand it, but it's true. Well, Santa Claus could be a sacred mystery too. As a kid, because people used to ask, well, how does Mom, how does Santa Claus come down the chimney if he's so fat? Oh, it's just a mystery. He's Santa Claus. He defies all science. That's why you got to study theology first, because there's no way you could understand science, because science would tell you it's impossible. Whereas when you study sacred mysteries, anything is possible in the realm of the divine. That's why it doesn't belong. I don't condemn people for having it. It orders their life in a certain way, and that's great. But I don't know how it belongs in the same box, is what I'm saying. Maybe somebody can enlighten me here on this. So, I've come to believe maybe, just maybe, for civilization to survive and to stay together, lies are necessary. Maybe they are. I mean, we could call them sacred mysteries, but, I mean, with a rose with any other name, is it really not a rose? I don't think so. And I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean, maybe all these commandments are suggestions, and that there's certain times when you can void them. It seems to me, though, like it's sort of a governmental thing versus the lowly schmucks, right? The lowly schmucks are not supposed to lie, but the government can lie. The king can lie, but you're not supposed to lie. The bishop can lie, but you're not supposed to lie. And it was the same way with parents, right? Because as parents, we can lie to you and tell you there's Santa Claus, but that's because it's just us trying to order your life in a certain way. But you're not allowed to tell us a lie. You know, the priest can tell you that there's a sacred mystery, but you're not allowed to understand it. And I've even been told that. I've even been told that by a religious person. You're not religious, therefore you won't understand it. You have to be religious. You have to go through some sort of of course, to really religious people, to be religious means something different than to your average lay person. A religious person is somebody who's under some sort of holy orders, right? Like a priest or a deacon or a monk or a nun or a brother, like a friar or something. That's who's religious. And they're under some kind of holy orders, and therefore they can understand theology. They can understand the sacred mystery because it's in their heart or something like that. I'm not mocking this, folks. I'm not mocking this. It's like, it's just weird. It's weird how humanity works. It's just an observation of humanity. An observation of humanity. And I think it has to do with hierarchies. I think it has to do with these people are the boss, historically, right? Like the priests or the chieftains or the shamans or whatever. They're the bosses, the real bosses of society. So they get to lie. They get to come up with a cadre of lies. But they won't call them lies. They'll call them something else. They'll call them great wisdom, or they'll call them sacred mysteries or something like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, a virgin birth or a resurrection or something like that. How is somebody resurrecting from a rock tomb as a live entity any less alive than Santa Claus coming down the chimney? Or, you know, somebody talking to Mohammed from a rock or something. Hey, it's a sacred mystery to me. And, but I continue to sort of admire it, and I continue to admire how it orders the lives of people. I think it really what it is what comes of it. Does good come of it in terms of people behaving themselves and being decent and, you know, raising decent children and having a society that grows and so on? Or does it not? In that case, you know, maybe it's sort of like the necessity of Trump to kill Soleimani. It's wrong. It's killing. It goes against the Ten Commandments. But for some people, that's righteous killing. It's like there's righteous lying and bad lying and righteous killing and good killing and all this sort of thing. It's odd. I'm at kind of a loss for it. I kind of understand it in a way, I guess, the practicality of it. But it just befuddles me how otherwise up-decent standing people, when I talk to them about this stuff, they glaze over and just say, oh, it's a sacred mystery, you don't understand. In other words, you don't have an answer for it. I don't know. It's something for us. I guess the lesson behind this all is for us to just learn to think for ourselves and admire things for what they are, the value that they have. Try to see the silver lining in them. I guess I'm no theologian, I'm no philosopher, I'm no scientist. I'm just an average guy observing things and saying, wow, this is weird. Steve here again, great chatting. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, and share. And by the way, the view in the back is the beach in winter. So there's a snowstorm going on, and it's cold. Talk again soon. Bye for now.